lovelies, it's Miss Lady Lace here on my glamour channel, and today I have a new fabulous video where I'm going to be exploring my pinup journey. I'm going to be taking you down memory lane and sharing some of my highlights and how I've grown as a pinup. Back in 2015 I did make a video on this topic, but the video is a bit outdated. I think I was still using my laptop webcam to record my videos, so I thought it'd be fabulous to go back and explore these fabulous memories with all of you. I'd love to know in the comments below, how did you get into pinup and where has this journey taken you? As a child, I was always interested in all things theatrical. Film and musicals were such a big inspiration for me. I enjoyed dressing up and I even used to film funny little music videos and whatnot as a child. While I already had an interest in vintage and antique items, it was when I was 14 that I first discovered Dita Von Teese. I'd seen pictures of her online and in magazines, and she just truly captivated me completely, which led me to do further research about her and all the things she did. Finding Dita led me to further research vintage pinup icons, and it's there I found Bettie Page, who was one of my first vintage pinup inspirations. At that young age, I was already dreaming of being a pinup girl and a burlesque dancer, but never really thinking I could make that my reality. With all this passion, it did take me a little while before I felt I had the courage to start dressing up. I began to experiment with styling though, and it wasn't long before I was wearing victory rolls, red lipstick, and thigh-high stockings to high school, which was very different to what most of the other girls were wearing. When I was 16, I had a friend ask if I would pose for some photographs as I had an interesting look. And I couldn't unfortunately find this photo because it is so old now, but I'll include a different image here, which is actually from a school formal around the same time, and the friend in the middle is Michael, who's actually the friend that took my photos for me. This gives you a little hint of my styling. As you can see, I have awful two-toned hair with blonde and black, which was quite an interesting choice. 2006 to 2009 was very much where I was exploring and discovering myself and finding what sort of vintage style resonated with me most. In 2010, I turned 18 and I became more serious about my pinup modeling, as it's something that I could very much go after a lot more. I started taking part in a lot of really fun photo shoots, and I'll include a few here, which will kind of be my before images when I started my modeling career. In that year, I joined a modeling agency where I worked for 2 years, where I did a lot more commercial work. I eventually left here though, so I could focus on having fabulous pinup fun and doing projects that really inspired me. In 2011, I won my first pinup contest. I was Miss Perfect Pinup 2011 at the Miss Pinup Australia contest. I also landed my first cover on American Classics magazine. One of my biggest passions in pinup has been creating community, and back in these days, there wasn't a whole heap of community-based events and community-based meetups, so I actually created the Perth Pinup community in 2013. I wanted this to be a space where I could meet other like-minded vintage lovers, and eventually we've grown from no members to over 1,000 local members in the Perth area. In 2014 was a very busy year. I was studying dance and I also got to work on some really exciting vintage projects. I launched my own business where I was working completely freelance. At this stage, I'd left the modeling agency I was working for and I left the dance company I'd been working for too, so I could really hone in and create wonderful vintage events. I think it was in October of this year that I started Miss Lady Lace's Pinup Parade with the Vintage Collective Markets, a fun and casual pinup contest where any vintage lover could take part, and that has been such a big passion project for me. We're running it still to this day with multiple events every year. That year I also won the Stealth Pinup Pageant, which was just the most amazing experience. In 2016, I launched the Pinup Prom, which is a big vintage ball we host annually in Perth. It's been running every year since, though with COVID this year I don't think we're going to have time to have the big full event, but I'm hoping to arrange maybe a little interim event to make up for the loss of that fabulous fun, but we should hopefully be back next year. 2016 was also the year that I got married, so we made our vintage fairy tale come true and had just the most beautiful ceremony and reception. In 2017 I won the Australian Pinup Pageant, I won the WA title, and then I went on to win the national title for this as well, which led me to be flown out to Melbourne, which was a really fabulous event. We also had pinup adventures in another trip to Melbourne and also travelling around New Zealand. In 2018, I was published in the Little Book of Betty, which was such a huge honour. Working with Tori Rodriguez over the years has been so much fun, and to be featured in a book about my idol was a dream come true. I also made the cover for Borrow magazine and Garter and Grills. 2019 was definitely one of my biggest years to date. I was accepted as a finalist into the Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly contest, which if you haven't heard about it, it's one of the world's largest and most prestigious pinup contests. I was selected as a top 6 judge's choice, which is a true honour, and I got to compete in that event in Las Vegas where I placed second runner-up. This led me to have all this fabulous fun around America. I got to visit Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Luis Obispo, and New Orleans. That year I also made the cover for Rocket magazine. While there's so much more I could talk about, I just wanted to highlight some of the things I think are my biggest achievements. Throughout those years, there were so many amazing photo shoots, fashion shows, incredible opportunities that I got to take part in. But if I had to go through and explain that all, we'd be here for a couple of days, I think. So I thought I'd try and keep this a little bit shorter and a little bit sweeter. Before I found pinup, I really didn't have much confidence. The idea of talking in front of a crowd of people or getting up on stage absolutely terrified me. For me today, all these things are such big factors of my work and my life. Pinup has truly changed my life and given me a place where I can be myself no matter how over the top and ridiculous that is. I haven't always been a perfect pinup, nor would I really classify myself as that now, but I hope this video shares a little bit more about my journey. I've been working professionally for 10 years now, and it's taken me a lot of time and work to get where I am. Even with my styling, it's taken me many years to develop and hone in these skills to where I'd like them to be. This has been my pinup journey, sharing a little bit about my pinup story and how I've come to be where I am today. I'd really love for you to share in the comments how you got into pinup and where your journey has taken you. Do you have any big goals for the future or anything you're aspiring to take part in? I know many of the people who watch me here may be dreaming of dressing a certain way, maybe getting into modeling or taking part in a pinup contest, or just generally taking a step outside your comfort zone. That first step is definitely the hardest, but if I went back in time and I didn't have the courage to do that, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I want this to be your call to action to finally do that thing that you've been dreaming of doing, finally taking that step outside your comfort zone. I do hope you've enjoyed today's video and maybe found it a bit of inspiration for your own pinup journey. I also apologize, as I think this is going to be a bit of a longer video. I've been talking in front of the camera for a little while, but hopefully I'll be able to edit that down just a touch. Regardless, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Today's video has been very much focused on my pinup work, and I was really thinking about making one for my burlesque work as well, as there's so many fabulous things that I could share a part of this. If this is something you'd like to see, do let me know in the comments below. If you love my channel and would like to further support my work, I'm now on Patreon and have exclusive offers and early access for my friends on there. If you'd like to follow my daily pinup adventures, I post super regularly to Instagram. I'll pop a little link here as well as at the end of the video. And to never miss out on my vintage fun here on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, and I'll be seeing you all real soon.